walls and barriers coming down, our time has come. Finally, the African American woman has a public voice of our own. So in celebration of Women's History Month and with the help of the good people at DC Cable, we are making history of our own with the launching of The Point. The Point is one of the first television news shows composed of women of color dealing not with song, dance, or comedy, but with news and views that matter. African American women are a group of 19 million people, 7% of the U.S. population. We make up 60% of the total black vote, and we are the Democrats' most loyal voting bloc. We know that African American buying power in the United States is $700 billion annually, and yes, African American women control a lot of that spending power. Women of color are gaining in political, economic, and of course spiritual power daily. But you would not know that from our twisted, perverted images transmitted through the media. When Don Imus insulted the black women on the Rutgers basketball team, men came to our defense and white women held news conferences to voice their outrage. But black women had no platform to voice our feelings. Others talked about us, some talked for us, but we had no place to talk about ourselves. We were voiceless and invisible, but now our time has come. In this crucial election year, for the first time, we have an African American man and a woman running for the highest office of the land. Now, both candidates are great choices over President Bush, who should have been impeached for his mishandling of the Iraqi war and the scandal of Katrina. For African American women, the choice of a woman and an African American, something I never thought would happen, creates tension and a tug of war in the soul. So often when blacks are victorious, it means men, and when women are victorious, it means white women. So what does the race of U.S. Senator Barack Obama and Senator Hillary Clinton mean for African American women? To discuss this and more with the members of The Point, we have Ella Coleman, who is publisher of Purpose Magazine, Valencia Muhammad, the star reporter for the Afro-American newspaper, and we have with us Yanita Winky, who is a school teacher in Arlington, Virginia. She teaches business. So let's get right to the point. Welcome to The Point. We have an incredible opportunity to choose between an African American man, a woman, for the first time in history. It's just tremendous. And so, you know, we as African American women, we have our own set of concerns and values. So let's just pretend that, you know, Obama has walked in here and Clinton has walked in here and they're here. Valencia, you know, you're a star reporter. You have been covering both of these candidates. What would you ask them?
In fact, I've really actually tried to get to Obama and Hillary to ask the question that I'm going to present now, and that is the fact that what are they going to do to give statehood and full representation to the citizens of the District of Columbia? The new Columbia Constitution was passed by the citizens of the district in the latter part of the 80s. So we've had 2 Republican presidents and 1 Democratic president, which is Clinton, Bill Clinton, who did not give us statehood but promised us statehood. So I wonder, have you read the new Columbia Constitution? What do you think about it? And exactly what are you going to do?
You know, another issue, I don't know if this is something you would ask them, but what do you think about the fact that Cheney is now pushing against the ban on weapons for the district? I mean, you know, that let's, like, I guess everybody can have a gun, and you know, I mean, that's with the number of violent deaths here. I mean, why shouldn't there be ban on weapons for the district?
Well, see, I'm quite different when it comes to that, and don't forget, I am a mother who has had 2 sons who have died related to gun violence in the district. However, I believe as a citizen of the United States of America that I want to enjoy all of the rights and privileges that my ancestors were denied. Therefore, I think that we should have the right to bear arms. So I differ regarding that, so you better check with somebody else.
I can say this, though. I believe that in Washington, D.C., with all the violence and all the black-on-black crime, that to take that ban away is really like murder itself. And so to me, I don't think that we should have guns on the streets like that. We know that the guns is getting into the hands of minors, into the hands of people who are not responsible. And evidently they are not at least in Washington, D.C. and most other major cities, they are not really really screening who is getting the guns accurately.
Right. But you know, one of the reasons why so many politicians are saying we need the guns because the NRA has so much muscle and so much money, and sometimes they are just saying that they support the guns because they know that the NRA will come against them. But I wanted to turn to Unita just a minute because she's a school teacher, and does it matter to you, you know, whether the people in D.C. that they can have more guns because of the ban taken? Does it matter to you?
Yes, it does. And it's not just D.C. I'm from North Carolina. I taught in North Carolina also. And from what I'm understanding and from when I visit home, the young kids, they are carrying guns. And they're out of control with them. And something has to be done about it. It's like their life, they have no value in life. They are not fearful of anything. And really, you know, I can understand that people want to be protected in their homes, but we have children that are bringing guns. Not only, they're bringing them to school.
And not too long ago, there was this big issue about a young guy who came in and shot his mother, father, and sister and brother.
15-year-old kid.
He could have knifed them also. He could have poisoned them. The point that I'm trying to make is, now you correct me if I'm wrong, but in North Carolina, it is legal for people to carry guns.
Yes, it is.
Okay, fine. So then,
Yes.
then you're saying what we're claiming over here. Some people are claiming is that if we give them guns here in the District of Columbia, that all of a sudden we're going to have more crime. But you're saying already in North Carolina they have guns and they have crime. My understanding is when I looked at your records that you don't have that. My son lives in Charlotte. I have another one that lives in Durham. They don't have an exorbitant amount of crime there in terms of murders. In fact, there's very few. In fact, and really all of the studies have shown that where they have the states and the cities that have the hardest gun bans have the most crime, have the most murders. What is happening here in the District of Columbia is we're going through gentrification. And they're doing this all around the country. And those people that are coming here from South Dakota, Texas, and Missouri, they're bringing their dogs, their cats, they got their laptop, their furniture, and they have their guns. And they're saying, I do not want to go to jail because I have a gun. I had a right to carry it in my other state, and I want a right to carry it
I'm going to
here.
get my gun and say cut, and I want you to pull my knife and say cut.
All right.
Because I want to ask you the other question, and that's what would you ask Senator Obama or Senator Clinton if they were sitting right here in this room?
If they were sitting right here in this room, I would ask them what kind of plan did they have other than what we had before, No Child Left Behind, for the educational system to improve the education in this country. Part of the problem that we're having in the schools, no schools seem to be working hardly in the public school systems across the nation. So I would ask them, what would their plan be to make the public school system, at least do something in the educational system in order to better what's happening there? We're behind in most of the academics. We're behind in math. We're behind in science. And people in other countries have just surpassed us. And not only that, a lot of our children, half of them, 50% was the percentage at one point in time of children dropping out of school. So they have to do something and address this, because if they do not address it, we're going to end up with more crime. We're going to end up with people who are not participating in the political process, and all of that adds up to a bad America.
And you know, you're right, but you know, in the district right here, you know, some of the highest paid teachers are getting the worst results. You know, right here in the district, there's been, you know, teachers stealing